Hello. Uh, Hopefully people join so we can do some viewer games later. Um, yeah. Hopefully people join the chat. If we could do some viewer games, that'd be good. I'm just waiting for my Fortnite to update, and we could do like pubs or rank. What is there to watch while I wait? Hopefully, hopefully someone's still subbed that plays Fortnite. Or if there's random people that want to play on YouTube. At Twitch, no one ever joins, so fuck that. YouTube's better. I don't think I have the voice lady, but I don't care. Screw the voice lady. Used to have her, but dude, Dave point out thinks about this pizza. It's gonna be an 8. Yeah, I think it looked that good. Italy pizza. Alright. Um, I guess I'll play some video clips. Some old video clips of me. That's why I'm in here, I guess. Dang it, this update is taking forever. What did they add to the game now? And they'll do another one before FNCS for all the fun competitors. Let's just do a new project. Let's look at some clips. These are just some tourneys. I've played like a little bit. I may play this season's FNCS, but I may be too busy. I don't even know if I shall have time. And it's just rant videos from me, of course. Let's watch this game because this is from like 5 months ago, maybe or maybe more. Look at the skin I'm wearing. Look at how cool I am. Look at the coolness I have. But um, this game was so freaking scary. Like I remember this game. So basically, this season, this was like the katana season for Fortnite, and if anyone competes, um, basically games went to the final zone this season, even like in W key lobbies. Because I mean, the mobility was so OP this season, and this game we had no mobility, so it was kind of a gulp situation. Like, how are you gonna freaking rotate? And in here, I think we spend a lot of our mats rotating. I got like one good zone end game though, and I was so fucking nervous. This is champion. Look at my cute skin. Look at how cute my skin is. No, and my comms are kind of funny too. We'll sim right here. Can we watch on full screen? 2, 1, go, go, go. Oh wait, don't have your list. I'm fine though, I'm fine. I'm really fine.
Can you get to me?
Yeah, I'm right here, Get to me, get down. You got my body.
I'm on up.
Okay. I'm only lit now. Holy fuck, I thought I did have your list. I guess I didn't.
That's just horrible. You have no map. It's alright though, it's just a fucking rotate we got.
It worked.
It worked, bro, it worked. That's all that matters, bro. That's all that matters.
My pulls far.
Why can't I not defeat the zone? Like, the feet fucking work on my map. What the fuck?
Right side's a little dead. You can turtle with it. Follow me. We can go back through old builds. Just pickaxing. Double break.
I'm
I'm going down. This is 8. Yes. That's the call. On us. I got pops. This is his first game.
You go back. Oh, fuck, never mind. You got this, Maddie. Clutch up, man.
Can you go on like top?
On your right.
I'll say that I played this well until the final zone. Like, being second height this season was like the best player you can do. This height didn't really look down that much. I was.
I can't mark zones.
Push back.
They're like super close to your peak mark. It's just a little bit ahead of your peak mark.
I needed zones though, since I had no katana. Look at all those katanas. Look at those.
There should be a match on your right.
Yeah.
Over there.
And then I decided not to go for them not too far in zone. Oh fuck, I'm choking. They're I don't watch that. I should have stayed up, bro. I should have stayed up. Height was like 4 layers above. I could have played under them for longer and then like chopped down. I got on top 4 there. Yeah, we didn't qualify for that cup, but because my friend didn't play for like 6 months, so that was his first tourney, and he got on 2 hours before tourney, to warm up, and there's no rank requirement, so it's not like we played ranked and he was warmed up, but like there's no requirement. I think there was one later that season that did have a requirement, but he didn't play that one. I like my calm. This is AIDS. Very accurate. Accurate. I love how accurate that was. This is AIDS. This is AIDS, man. This is AIDS. Well, I'll do game 2. What happened this game? I need to wait for my Fortnite to update. This is why I'm watching all this stuff. If anyone's wondering if anyone's here. No one's here. This is game 2. Okay, we got. This is the one where Unknown. Yeah, this one was shambles. I'm not gonna watch this actually. Unknown did all the work. He did all the work. Oh, you got one. That's. Sorry, you got one. These guys can break. Yes, let's go. They hear how happy I sounded. What happened this tournament? We were doing good, and then his mom shut off his PS4, and then we kind of died off spawn 2 games in a row. Like, and it was during like an end game too. So I got a 9th that game. I remember we should have probably won that game. We had bats for high ground. I remember. Like I was about to look for it. That was AIDS. We're like 30 off qual, but realistically, if we won that game, we would have been 10 off qual, and we just needed like a somewhat decent game. Isn't that just a rip in the chat? Isn't that a rip? I don't like that. That's a rip, man. What other good stuff do I have in here that we could watch while I wait for my Fortnite? Uh, I don't have a lot of GTA in here. What the fuck? I'm just talking while playing Michael or that queer guy, like in director mode. The tits guy. Oh my god, bro, he doesn't say the sound effect anymore. GTA's become politically correct. Yeah, tits. Come on, bring it back, GTA. I don't like that. Okay, what was this? What the hell is this? Aw, this tournament was so. I remember this. Uh, so in this tournament, we needed 118 to get the Frosty Flake skin. I mean, I don't really care because, just skin cup, but we were so close, and this is zero builds, right? My teammate finds a few kills. Nice. I remember we're in zone this game for some reason. We're just like lurking edge zone, whatever. We get some upgrades. The keys were in the game. Why did we tank? Am I retarded? Why did we tank? Why did we tank? It worked. I remember we got like a high placement. He just barely missed it, but why did we tank?
Alright. Even though this is in the zone, I kind of want to go to these houses right here and see if there's any hammers.
Oh yeah, because this was hammer meta, and I wanted a hammer really bad for endgame.
This is exactly what we needed. This game is insane.
Oh, and I also remember I don't really play zone and zero build anymore. Maybe I should again. Zone was just a good way to make endgames consistently. I mean, the only thing is you wouldn't have any whites for endgames, and now you need whites, so that's why I don't like playing zone. I mean, I kind of forget my thinking from these earlier seasons, as you can clearly see. But yeah, playing zone was the strat, so yeah, we did play zone. And we got a few kills in zone too. I think that was a rebooted team. But we were racking up kills. That's like, wait, I should do that this season, low-key. It's a good way to rack up kills. There's gonna be kids that are rebooting, and they'll stand no chance. It's me. You could just rack up elims, and as long as we get like top fives in the cups for chilling. Probably gonna be playing zero build this season. Maybe FNCS. Oh, and this is it right here. Why can I? What? Okay, so we need 120 to qual and get the skin. Let's keep that in mind. Da -da -da. We're playing this bush right now. I don't like this play too. If that was me, I would have kept going in. Because that situation just wasn't. And we had trees to protect us from left side shots, and there was nobody over there. We should have just kept going right. And just, you know, we would have been safer there. Fuck. I want that super flake skin. That looks like some like weird ass Gen Z kid. What the fuck? Give me that skin now. Damn it. So annoying. So unlucky I am. Sad day. What's this video? What does this show? Is this like me just 1v winning? Oh yeah, this is me W King a Contender Cup. We did terrible. Yeah, that's not worth watching. There's nothing noteworthy in that. All we got was like 6 kills in game. Lol, because I can't fight. It feels like in builds have gotten better, but zero builds have gotten worse. Because there's just so many strats, and sometimes I want to be consistent with my strats, and sometimes my build strats just aren't good for zero builds. I completely like sold an Asia Cup a few days ago because my strats were pretty terrible. Should have played zone a lot more. Should have not relied on, like I said, like maybe we should rotate, like solo shockwaves to a work maybe, but we should just like this season. I don't even think you're like you just go super late and you just shockwave. Once when you see a spot you want to go, you don't really like mark a fucking spot. When you have grapples, it's super fucking easy, but when you have these stupid shockwaves, it's so hard to rotate like in a coordinated fashion. Of course, when you're playing with someone that's good at the game, then there's no excuse for not qualifying for an Asia Cup for no one plays. But sometimes I get better as the season goes on, for sure. At the beginning of the season, sometimes I'm terrible, like with the meta. Oh, this is my squad's cash cup. I was playing with a random squad, bro. These guys they were good, but they just had no zero build PR. I think they're all PC though. I think, or maybe a few were PS4. How do we get a fourth? I didn't get my debit card.
Coming to the other side? Damn.
Forgot these are squeakers. They're squeakers.
Oh my god, boss is right there. Oh my god!
You should hammer him out.
I'm fragging. What do you mean?
Don't worry about it. Just hammer right there. Hammer right there.
No, I'm fragging. Let me frag.
Guys, follow me
Let me frag. I'm freaking. Get in the crate. Get in the crate.
No, next
Should we
one's
get
right
in the
there.
crate?
Just get below that ledge right there. Get below.
That team was. We somehow got top like 150 that cup. That shit is crazy. Okay, is the game done? Bro, I just won't finish like ever. Might not do your games if it's gonna take this long. Then like Jesus freaking Christ. All right, now that I see this, I may have to do a rant on call it on one of my professors. Let's see if this grade is in now. Let's see. Okay, good. So I was one standard deviation above the average, so that's not bad. That's not bad. I was about to say, like, my professor had a lot of bitchy comments on my paper. I'm like, bro, if that paper is like average, I'll be pissed. So I worked hard on a certain paper, and he had like bitchy comments, and I'm like, well, like sometimes you have to make simple arguments in order to make a larger point. And he like is like, oh, there's so much nuance. I'm, bro, shut the fuck up and listen. Like he was it he like I make a point. Then he's like, well, that's a little simplistic. Then I state two sentences down that it's simplistic, but the point is, and I'm like, bro, just read it and then make a comment. Like, fuck. Like, are you reading it like a retard? Like, you just like initially react to every word, like, ooh. Just fucking read the paper and then react. Fucking hell. So it wasn't even like put any fighting words in there too. I was just like, God. Everything just has to be neutral language in an academic setting. I'm just like, bro, that's not how life works. I feel like when you follow all the instructions and you have people that don't, I'm like, yeah, I better be above average by a decent amount, which I was. So no rant on that professor, so he was consistent. As long as you're consistent, I'm fine. Update said it was going to take 10 minutes, but it's been way longer than that. Oh, oh my god. I mean, Wami Hero just. Oh. Nah, I don't want to talk about that. March Madness is on in a bit, so maybe I'll watch that. I'm just so mad. Like, what's going on in our country right now? It's so fucking awful. Like, okay, here's my rant. Here it comes. Okay. Ugh. So here's where it stems from. You have like good amount of U.S. historians. They do the survey and they say that Biden's the 14th best president in history. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm not a huge Trump guy, but that is absurd. Absurd. That's ridiculous. I mean that. I mean, sure, the economy is in a much better place than it was in 2021, 100%. But obviously we had inflation we had to deal with. Um, things are just becoming unaffordable, and people just couldn't afford stuff. I mean, that's really what it came down to, and we had a supply chain problem. The Fed was completely unhinged in its interest rate. I mean, so we had those problems, as well. I mean, well, Biden did bring back the. I mean, the economy's doing a lot better now. It's not perfect again. I mean, I don't like the rhetoric like, oh, if the economy's doing great. If you don't feel it, then something's wrong. Like no, people lost all their fucking pocketbook savings from COVID. Like, of course they're not gonna feel it. And their dollars aren't worth as much. I mean, people aren't gonna feel that. I mean, I'm like, sorry, that's just how it is. I mean, so you have that aspect. The economy, he's okay with that. Leadership, he's a fucking F. I mean, this guy, a person, in 2020 that should have ran for Trump. Like, Biden kind of took a Gerald Ford approach, and he completely misfired. Like, he did not heal this country. He made this country's like he basically put salt in the fucking wound. I mean, this guy's a loser and an idiot. I mean, like, he made the divisiveness far worse. He keeps on, labeling certain groups of people instead of like reconciling, trying to move on from Trump, and maybe trying to work together. I mean, like, he still does Fighting stuff, and he could only work with the moderate Republicans, which, AKA, Republicans, Republican voters consider Democrats. I mean, so it's not like you're rekindling Republicans by working with moderate Republicans. The Republican voters don't even identify with those people. I mean, so I think he's just been horrible with leadership, and then obviously foreign policy. He's just complete. He's just George W. Bush all over again. He's just terrible with that. Domestic policy, he's done some good things, but you know, it's overshadowed by um, foreign policy leadership, economy, COVID vaccine mandates that were not needed. I mean, and Lily, he wants, like, the government wanted to control the fucking internet during COVID. I mean, like, they want a ministry of fucking truth during a pandemic. I mean, there's no free thought, free thinking about COVID. I mean, about other things there was free thought, but when it came to COVID, no. You're a conspiracy theorist. Woo! If you like have one question, it's like you're a conspiracy theorist if you're a cynic. If you're like, you ask a question, you already know the answer to it. Like, no one can change your mind. But if you're just asking a question, that doesn't make you a conspiracy theorist. Like, okay, does this vaccine, does it really reduce the chance of me getting COVID? Does the vaccine, was it reduce my ability to transmit the disease? Because I mean, I'm seeing evidence here that despite, 70, 80% of the population being vaccinated, there's still over 88,000 cases last week in this, like 2 weeks ago in this country. I mean, it's not like the vaccines, helped reduce the public health, crisis, and I don't think you could force someone to take a symptom reducing medicine. I mean, sure, the first stages, may not be that effective, but we're in later stages of the vaccine by now. I mean, it's been a few years. I mean, within the fifth year of the measles vaccine being introduced, I mean, cases went from 4 million in the United States to like 80,000, like in a year. I mean, in the fifth year, I mean, it was doing great. It was reducing transmission. A lot less people are dying. A lot less people are dying. I'm not denying that, but it does not reduce transmission at all. I mean, it makes no sense to, there has to be like kind of an argument. I at least want to hear their reasoning more, like why, people that don't get the vaccine need to be banned from public life in 2022. Like, that's what I need to know. Why was that the case? Why couldn't people go to work, go to restaurants, go to the grocery store, you know, just because they didn't have a jab? Like, that's, the in freedom during that period was just, it was just horrible. And that was just sponsored by the Biden administration again. Um, and then you got, Trump, who's just, his brain just really like mush. I mean, he does not look like the same person he was in 2016. Like Trump's a lot less sharp. He's messing up names. You know, he's running on obviously the America First values and policies that he enacted. And I don't hear much new as well. And a lot of his campaign comes down to divisiveness. And you're raining the swamp and it's assuming the worst in people. I mean, so we're just in a bad place. I mean, both sides are divisive. Um, Trump's divisive, Biden's divisive. RFK, his stance on Israel is horrid, so can't vote for him. I mean, I understand someone's pro-Israel, but he'll die for Israel. Like, I'm just like, dude, are you American or Israeli? Like, it's almost at that point. Like, dude, like, chill with the Israel stuff. Like, you look like you're about to cry. I mean, like, he needs to fucking relax. Like, obviously, the Israel, lobby has you by its fingertips. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, I don't care if someone's, pro Palestinian, pro Israel. There's obviously, persuasive arguments for both sides, but when you're just like that, I hear like when someone's like about to cry for an argument, I'm like, oh god, like relax. Especially if they're not being personally affected by it. Like, oh god,
relax. Like, don't start crying on national television. Like, yeah, so that's really and, the place our country's in, and the way that Democrats are going to win is they're going to run on reproductive rights. They're going to run on preserving democracy. And when I hear the word democracy, it just pisses me off because, a lot of the Democrats' policies are just undemocratic. And so, and Republicans supporting the filibuster is also undemocratic, but as well. Both parties do it, but I just can't stand when a party just says we're promoting democracy. I'm just like, shut up. Like, that's so old. When it comes to Ukraine, when I hear that, I just cringe. I'm like, that place is not a democracy. I'm like, I'm sorry. We're defending Ukraine's sovereignty. That's a better way to say it. But for Americans to support it, we're defending democracy. Even though it's a hybrid system, which basically means, hey, there's some freedoms there, but it's an authoritarian government. That's that's what it says on Freedom House, which is a very renowned site. And it's not biased by any means. You see Russia's far below Ukraine at like a 10 rank for freedom, while Ukraine's like 38, 40. It's not that good. United States is like 82. European societies are a little bit higher. So 40 is a pretty low score. I wouldn't consider that democratic. They consider it a hybrid regime where it's still authoritarian. I just get tired of hearing the whole good versus evil bullshit, and then it's just so annoying. And you don't run on anything besides your opponent. And then obviously reproductive rights, it's a valid concern of many Americans because it's just a minority dominating a fucking issue. The Bible dominating an issue. Ridiculous arguments about how life starts at conception is dominating the issue. So that's a legitimate concern. I get that, but the whole democracy thing, I'm like, oh god, shut up. You guys don't really care for democracy all that much. You treat American voters like they're fucking idiots. In order for them to support Ukraine, you have to say they're a democracy, even though they're not. It's just the truth. You're just saying, hey, they infringe on Ukraine's sovereignty. Russia's being aggressive. They want to, bring their quote unquote nation together. And Ukraine's, internationally recognized. We're going to defend Ukraine. We're going to send them weapons. You don't have to say we're defending democracy from Hitler. Don't treat voters like they're fucking idiots. And this is exactly what Eisenhower warned about in his farewell address, where you have the military-industrial complex, basically rewriting our morality. Good versus evil. It's why we gotta support them. It's why we gotta send billions. It's why there's no peace. There's no options for peace. It's why. It's why. And our politicians have just completely ignored that, that facet, of Eisenhower's farewell address, that's very well known. They're completely rewriting morality. And if you look at Eisenhower's address, I've been thinking about it, it's so true. He literally, 2 minutes later, when he's, after the whole military-industrial complex thing, he goes into how public policy will be held hostage by scientific, technological elite, and he means, federal government contracts for space research, ways to win the Cold War, things of that nature. That's what he means by that. But you got Twitter, you got social media, you have, all these different sites now, and they're completely influencing public policy, right now, and it's a free speech forum as well, but a lot of public policy is determined by social media, and big tech companies. We're seeing that in our society as well. So it's just a very, very precarious situation, and yeah, and then of course he predicts like 30 seconds later that it's important when your society's dominated by technology and science, and when the world's becoming so small because the world used to be so big, now it's small because of technology and social media. The world feels so small. It's important to not be a community of hatred, and was it suspicion? It's important to be a community of love and mutual trust. Of course, Twitter. Twitter. Of course, it's the exact opposite. It's hatred and suspicion. Are you a Democrat? Are you a MAGA Republican? Like it's basically the entire warning is like in our society today, and it's pretty fucking scary. I mean, so it's a very unfortunate situation. Um, it's very unfortunate what's going on, right now. Um, I wish I could say there's, hope, but of all these candidates, they really don't solve the problem. The number one thing we need to fix is this divisiveness. We've always had divisiveness, but never to this extent, like at all, at all. It's going to the level of like antebellum civil war. Like it's just like we've never had divisiveness this bad since then. Like it's divisiveness is just really bad. It's just destroying this one straight nation. It's just not good. And obviously, the second biggest thing for me too is what are we doing with Ukraine? The problem with me is there's no strategy. I see it's just like we gotta fund them and hope they win. Like, do we even know they have a good chance? So it's like ridiculous. I feel like if they lose, would waste billions of dollars. Russia's gonna get a lot of the military equipment, if they surrender, and Russia will have a power play, which won't be good. So I'm just like, well, we really don't want to be, spending on Ukraine if they don't have a good chance. Only to an extent. And at the same time, you don't want to, what is it? If Ukraine wins, which obviously everyone's gonna be emotional and think that's such a great thing, But the problem is, what's Putin gonna do then? How's he gonna legitimize his authority to how's he gonna claim his legitimacy to all of his citizens? He's gonna abuse human rights. He'll make more nuclear threats. He'll make the world more unstable, per usual. So that's what happens if Ukraine wins, and obviously Ukraine will be sovereign, which is great. It will promote, like, hey, we could beat the big evil nation. We could David versus Goliath, whatever. We could beat him. But you have that problem with what then? Um, we just completely forgotten that peace could be a decent option. Like we could try negotiations. There's no telling if it's gonna work, like at all. But we haven't tried, which is concerning. The only solution is this war. And it's not like this war is gonna prevent other wars in the future. So I think it's very, very stupid. You know, I think what really, shows that argument, what really brings it all together is, the media, politicians, lobbyists' reaction to Prigozhin, going to Moscow in like 2022, I believe, maybe 2023, start 2023. He's marching to Moscow because he's pissed at Putin. 50,000 men. The media is just going mad. And I don't usually say the media that much because it's like kind of an all-encompassing term, but they were going mad. Like, oh my god, he's gonna fall. Let's have like a fucking party. It's like celebration. Like, oh, well, we finally fall. And I'm like, all right, have we just lost our minds? A military leader? Do we think this guy's like less authoritarian than Putin? Probably not. Like, is things gonna really change in Russia? No. It's a system thing, If we're thinking about this realistically, obviously Putin's a terrible, evil person, but they just lost their minds. And I get when the average person does that because like a Ukrainian, an average American's happy that an authoritarian regime's going down. But when you get the policymakers being that delusional and that stupid, and that's where I have a problem. I'm like, our policymakers are this dumb. I'm like, jeez, like we're in trouble. Like, we have a president who's just a vegetable. I mean, he's a puppet. I mean, really the best I could say it. He's just a fucking puppet. I mean, it's just not a good situation when you have all these cunning bold leaders, in a multipolar world, which essentially we have today. I mean, we need someone that's strong. We need someone that, you know, people respect. Not like, but respect. We just don't have that right now. I'm like, ugh. Has Fortnite finished updating? Because I really don't want to talk forever. Hopefully someone's in the chat, so I don't have to talk about this, but... Yeah, so that's my spiel on why I think we're going in the wrong direction. Gulp. Jesus fucking Christ. And don't worry, guys, I won't be talking politics much. It's only when no one's in the chat and I have nothing else to do and I'm, like, waiting for the game to update. It's not like I'm spieling out, like... I have people's opinions, just... Like I said, with, like... With RFK, I'm just like, I'm fine if someone's pro-Palestinian, pro-Israeli, because there's two persuasive arguments for, the two, but when you have, like, someone that's not even affected, crying, like, he's like, Israel Day! I'm just like, dude, are you an American or Israeli? Like, I goes, like, why are you getting all weird? Like, the lobbyists just have you at their, like, fingertips right now. I mean, it's really embarrassing. I mean... Like that's where I'm just like, whoa, okay, okay. Like, I respect people's viewpoints. I mean, no matter how really extreme they get, I hold people in good faith for the most part. And they want, what's best for the country, what's best for the world. But when I hear that, I'm like, okay, like who's paying you all this money to do this? Like, come on. I understand if you're directly affected, if you have family with Jewish history, if you have a family that's been historically in Palestine, but when you're RFK and you're just like, you've been, a part of this, this famous rich family that's been going on for generations, and obviously, has been, pretty cursed, to say it, lightly, and he's like, well, we got it. He sounds like Joe Biden at the State of the Union. He's like yelling incoherently. I'm just like, oh, okay, like, who's paying you to do this? Like, there's persuasive arguments, but people get all emotional like that. It's like, okay, like, so how does this affect you again? Like. You'd expect someone to be emotional like that after, like, an event like 9/11. Like, we gotta go in Iraq, we gotta join the even at the UN, wants to investigate first that they're actually there. Like, I'd expect someone to be emotional because our homeland was attacked, but when that's not the case, then that's a little weird. Like, when someone's getting that emotional like that, they're screaming incoherently. So yeah, that's why I'm not supporting RFK, because here's some positions I don't agree with, and that aspect that he's so strong Israel. I'm just like, dude, are you like giving Israeli like citizenship? I'm like, it looks like you're on the verge of tears whenever you're talking about it. Like, this guy needs to chill the fuck out. Like, chill. Take a chill pill, man. Like, what's so different from you and Joe Biden? Like, you're screaming incoherently about how they're okay. You're just spewing the same platitudes again. I mean, people do that all the time, in arguments. But I mean, he's just so, he's so insistent. Like, God. so no, I'll be doing now. Let's talk about March Madness. Screw it. Before I get off, because I don't think I'm gonna do VR games. This game's taking forever to download. But anyway, VR games. No, not VR games. March Madness. Virginia versus Colorado State. I hope Virginia doesn't get in. They're so bad. It makes you cringe to watch them. They're so bad. They're so bad at offense. Like, they melt the fucking clock and they just chuck up a terrible shot, it feels like, every time. Half of their offense relies around drawing fouls. I mean, their team's consistent, but again, that game style could lead them to like losing almost fucking anybody. Like they could lose to like a fucking high school team on a bad day. I mean, if they're consistently good, they'd be national champions. You know, and then you have them scoring 30 points in a basketball game at certain points, and then you have them losing to USMBC. Oops. I mean, so I really don't want Virginia to get in. So I hope Colorado State wins. And then, what is it? Let's see the most overrated and underrated teams in March Madness. Let's think about this. Let's look at the March Madness brackets. Very important. Very important. It's like not even debatable. It's so important. March Madness brackets. Alright, so let's see the most overrated team from each bracket, okay? Most overrated team, okay? Okay, the first bracket I see is the UConn bracket. I'll just go by the top teams, because it doesn't say, like, North, South, whatever. It is definitely FAU. They've really been disappointing this year. I mean, they've not been as dominant as you would like them to be, at all. It's either between them and San Diego State. I feel like a lot of their seeding is based on last year's results, which is not fair. Because, I mean, when has a 24-10 Mountain West team been a 5th seed? When has that happened? And they didn't even win their conference tournament. Like, they don't have. I don't think they have many quad one wins. Like, when does that happen? And FAU again. I mean, they're comfortably in after going down to semifinals. I mean, so that doesn't make much sense to me. That's number one. I think they were a lower seed last year, if I'm correct. They had 3 losses last year, so that's an underrated. Definitely. We'll do that later. Let's stick with the overrated. North Carolina. I'll probably say, in this bracket, the most overrated is probably. I'll say Nevada. I feel like Mountain West is really fucking overrated. How does Nevada get in? I don't even think they made the fucking semifinals, or maybe they did. Did they lose in overtime? Like, they did not do that good in the conference tournaments, and they were okay during the regular season. I mean, they played nobody in non-con, and Mountain West, you know, it's pretty back and forth. So I mean, you expect teams to have like 7 to 10 losses going into the tournament, a good amount of teams. So I don't get that, them being number 10. Especially when you have teams like Indiana State, you have teams like Oklahoma. You putting that trash in there. Nevada's not that good, I'm sorry. If they make the Final Four run, then I'm sad. Okay. So now, we go to the Houston bracket. You could make a case for, give me a second, chat. I gotta do a message. My head's hurting. Fuck, I hate this, man. Okay, never mind. I'm back. So, it's over a team. I'll be surprising. I'll say Houston. Houston's not that good. I mean, I don't think they're that great. I mean, but just for just for the sake of their 4-loss team, they can't be that overrated. I'll say Wisconsin. They should be a 5 seed. That's a joke. You can make the case with Purdue. I'm like, I don't expect them to make the Final Four, but in the Purdue bracket, who's the most overrated? I'll say I'll say Kansas because they're just so injured and they were not that great this year. I'll put Gonzaga at 4 and I put Kansas at a 6 seed. I don't even think they're that great. Kansas versus Oregon would be a good matchup too. And I kind of hate the Samford matchup. That's just an easy win for Kansas. That's kind of a loser. That's kind of like fucking. Okay, you're just giving yourself a win there. Like, okay. Underrated teams. Let's go. Okay, Purdue bracket. I'll definitely say Oregon. Oregon's looked good. Houston bracket. I'll say it's really tough. I'll say Oakland. I saw them play in their conference tournament, and I hate when the video just keeps playing. And I'll just say, watch out for Oakland. I think number 4 on that team, I forget his name, but he's really good. Watch out for Oakland. They could upset Kentucky. I mean, John Calipari has historically fallen short in these fucking moments, so I wouldn't be surprised if he does if he goes down in the first round. But at the same time, they could definitely make a national championship run. They have a path that's easy enough, that still has some bumps in the road. That's the kind of the path you're kind of after. Okay, who's the most underrated team in the UConn bracket? I would probably say I'd say Drake. Well, actually, I was about to say Washington State, but they did not do good in their conference tournament, so they kind of deserved that. The 7th seed, they deserved it for sure. I don't think they made the semifinals, so absolutely they shouldn't be that high. But I'd say Drake. Okay, for our North Carolina bracket. Let's say St. Mary's for that bracket. Watch out for St. Mary's. I mean, Randy Bennett does not get nearly enough credit for what he's done. I mean, Gonzaga, it seems like, even though they, Randy Bennett and Mark Few, they've come from, similar backgrounds, they built a program from nothing. It's always seemed like Gonzaga's had considerably more talent. I mean, whether it's attributed to Mark Few's, recruiting skills, his acumen, with recruiting, I'm not sure, but it's always seemed like Gonzaga's had more talent. And St. Mary's is like the gritty team, that's not that talented, but they just do the fundamentals really good. And they're just always a thorn in Gonzaga's, side at certain points. But this year, St. Mary's started out 3-5, and then they won 22 out of 23 games. And they looked really good in the WCC, tournament. They beat Gonzaga in the final. The only issue I see is having Mason Forbes in the starting lineup. I think he's a very good defender, very athletic. He may be hurt, though. I think he got hurt in that Gonzaga game, but he's just a horrible free throw shooter. Horrible. He shoots like 35%. I'm like, don't have him in the final 2 minutes. That's like I don't know. Maybe Randy wants him for rim protection, or I'm not very sure. He can't shoot either, so I wouldn't have him in the last 5 minutes of a basketball game. I wouldn't have him in. He has such a liability on the offensive end. He dunks. He could hit a mid-range jumper every once in a while, but he can't do that much else. I mean, I'd rather have someone that's a little more akin to today's game which is spacing, and he doesn't space the floor very well. But that's the only issue I have for St. Mary's. They're playing a relatively GCU. They should, unless they really fuck up, they should have no problem beating GCU. But when I mean no problem, I'll say a 10-point win. I mean, St. Mary's is not good enough to beat someone by 30, I don't think, but they could beat GCU by like 10 or 15. Worst case scenario, GCU wins close game. I don't think GCU's that great. So I mean, GCU they lost to Louisiana Tech, and they're not even in the tournament by like 10 points, I think too. You know, Louisiana Tech could have probably gotten in, but they lost in their conference tournament. They didn't get in, so I mean, I think GCU's that great. Wait, did GCU like lose the fucking St. Louis too? And Clemson's definitely the most overrated team on this fucking bracket. I said Nevada, but Clemson, they shouldn't be a 6 seed either. Holy fuck, that's way too. They're awful. They're awful. They've been so inconsistent this year. It's a joke. I'd put NC State going further than them. I mean, it's really not that. It's not good. Okay. GCU basketball. They've played nobody. They have played nobody. Let's see their non-con. Let's see if they beat anyone good. Got last year's, schedule gulp I want this year. Okay, they barely lost to South Carolina. South Carolina's in at 6 seed. So, good for them. They beat San Diego State. Okay, maybe they're better than I thought. Beat Liberty. Liberty's been a good school. Okay. Oh, they did beat La Tech. I thought La Tech beat them. They must have came back in that game because I was watching it too. It's just like I just don't know if I can trust them. This could actually be a good game. I mean, San Diego State and St. Mary's, even though I think St. Mary's is a better basketball team, they're not that far off. And if GCU could beat them, they could probably beat St. Mary's. If St. Mary's really fucks up. I mean, St. Mary's needs to play a good basketball game in order to beat GCU, actually. I scratched that thought. They're pretty good. Alright, I'll do video games tomorrow. Bye.